I don't think anybody's going to score a lot. Rutgers headed to Nebraska. Nebraska had their get-right game against Purdue, and it took a half. Had a 0-0 score at halftime, but they ended up winning 28-10. Rutgers, meanwhile, beat Washington on a Friday night. Very fun game to watch. But this game, I think, is going to be a slobber knocker. The total's 43.5. I will take the under there. Nebraska is a 7.5-point favorite. That feels like a lot of points in a game that's not going to have a lot of points.
Do we have to sit down and talk about Rutgers and Indiana at some point? Like, I don't know. Like, Rutgers is an undefeated team, and the last time they were undefeated, I think, was the 2012 season under Greg Schiano, where they won the Big East, or whatever. It's been 12 years since that happened. I was very high on Nebraska and Dylan Raiola 3 weeks ago, and they had their Friday night debacle, and I don't know how much that changed, Andy. Like, I don't know that I think that Nebraska all of a sudden is the old version of itself. I think it lost a game to a tough team. Now, we learned a little bit more about Illinois this week, too. I thought they hung in there pretty well with Penn State, though they're not the same class. I don't know that we thought that Nebraska would be in the same class, but that doesn't mean that I don't think Nebraska can beat Rutgers, right? Like, Rutgers has one of the best running backs in college football, pounds it out, and will be able to control clock. If you don't think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, I think the game will be in question in the second half. I think that getting 2 scores for Rutgers feels pretty comfortably, but I think that Nebraska's probably going to win this game.
We got to talk about Prize Picks. Download that app. Use the code Staples. Play $5. Get $50 instantly. How does Prize Picks work? Well, you're picking squares. So you've got a player, and they've got a number attached to them. We talked a lot about the Miami-Virginia Tech game last week relative to Prize Picks, and I'm telling you, the folks at Prize Picks hit that nail on the head, because what did we tell you? Miami may win this thing, but they're not going to run for much, but they're going to throw for a lot. And they got the Damian Martinez number was 61.5. He gained 60 yards. The Cam Ward number was 314.5. He threw for 343. His Demon Square was 349. So they were just right on it the whole way. So a lot of fun. Now, the college football board has not yet been populated for this week. It will start to get populated as the week goes on. So check back Monday night, Tuesday morning, you're starting to see some college football stuff. That UNLV Syracuse game that we're about to talk about will be one of the first ones to hit. So maybe your first Hajj Malik Williams square. But 2 Monday night football games tonight. They also have the NFL. Let's not forget. So you've got the Titans and the Dolphins. You've got the Lions and the Seahawks. So maybe you got some strong thoughts about Jared Goff. Maybe you got some strong thoughts about Snoop Huntley starting for the Dolphins. Go to Prize Picks. Use the code Staples. Play $5. Get $50 instantly. All right. Yeah, this is what I'm trying to figure out, is how close this thing is. I think we are sweating this thing out in the fourth quarter. I think, because Rutgers defensively, I have a lot of faith in them. Kamanon guy, the question is, can they get him going against the interior of that Nebraska defense? Because this is the best interior defensive line that Rutgers may see, because Rutgers doesn't play Michigan. So do those big guys in the middle just blow things up and make it hard for Rutgers to move the ball at all? Because I think that does change the math on it. Because I do think Dylan Raiola is gonna be able to hit some things down the field. Nebraska may be able to hit a big play or two. I don't know if Rutgers is going to hit any big plays, if they're going to have any explosives, or they're going to have to just grind it out the whole way. So that's...
Well, Rutgers is a smash mouth, grind it out team. And I think that
they're built for that, but Nebraska can do that too.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. Is
what
Nebraska
I was going to say was
they can.
What I was going to say was that when that's who you are, like, Nebraska's not a great style make fight game for you. Like, you have to have some sort of explosiveness, some ability to create some plays in the passing attack. And I just think that Nebraska has an extra element there, especially at the quarterback position to get that done. I don't know that they're going to win by 2 scores though, Andy. Like,
right.
I think I like Rutgers to cover the game, but I think Nebraska to win.
I'm going to take Nebraska here, because I'm going to go all in on what we've been saying. This is not the old Nebraska. The old Nebraska, this is definitely a 1-score game regardless of who wins, it's a one-score game. But I'm going to say Nebraska, not the old Nebraska, figures out a way to pull away. And I don't mean pull away by a lot, because again, I think
the old Nebraska is losing this game.
Well, the old Nebraska is losing this game by missing a field goal at the end, or by just some sort of crippling turnover that allows Rutgers to punch in the game-winning score. Like, yeah, that's how the old Nebraska would lose. I think they're beyond it. But so I'm going to show faith in the new Nebraska and say they're covering this thing.
I don't want my Rutgers pick for people to think that I think Nebraska is the old Nebraska. I think that if they're in a tie game in the fourth quarter and then Nebraska wins by 7 or 3, that is the new Nebraska.
That's the opposite of the old Nebraska.
Yeah, that wins in that environment. So, like, I think that, I'm comfortable with getting 2 possessions here with Rutgers, but I also think that Nebraska is going to win this football game.
Well, I cannot wait. That's another. This is what I've been circled, or have had circled for the whole season. Like, I just think it's going to be a really interesting game.